1. Welcome to the show, everyone. Happy Friday. I hope you've had a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments. Let me know how your week went. It's Friday. Where are you at? What are you doing? Welcome to Ed Talk TV, Conversations Worth Having. And today we are going to be talking about 3-step formula for your success. And chances are you're probably already doing some of these, but we're going to talk about it anyway. And let me share with you how the show goes for those who are new. Be sure to comment. Why? Because that puts you out there. It gets you noticed. When you drop a comment anywhere, not just on the show here, but anywhere you go on Facebook land or anywhere else really, when you drop a comment, it actually puts you one step closer to where you want to be. That's right. Even if it's just that hello or thank you. That all takes you to the next level. We kind of talked about that yesterday. What's your next move, right? If you missed yesterday's episode, definitely check that out. I actually popped in the link to the Start Here page where you can actually go after the show, and it has all the info that you need to know about me, the show, all that stuff. So it's all there for you. Hopefully audio is good. I'm testing out with the mic here, so I'm going to pull up my phone for a second. Okay, cool. It's there. Awesome. See, you got to have multiple devices because I actually am going live from my desktop. So it allows me to get fancy, professional, all this stuff here, right? But don't worry about that if you're just starting out and trying to get yourself to do a live. Don't worry about having all of this. There is training if you need it over on that Start Here page, but the goal is just to get you to go live. So you can work your way up to all this stuff. Welcome to those joining. Jump into the comments, say hello, tell people where you're tuning in from, and even if you're watching the replay, I definitely want you to jump in because replay viewers, you are important too. And I get a lot of them, so it's great. Now, what else do we want to talk about? Before we get into today's topic, which is the 3-step formula to success, and I'll kind of share where it came from and all of that, but we want to cover some random news because that's what we like to do at the beginning. Also, if you wanted to become a guest on the show, you can always do that. If once you click on that Start Here page, it will have you go down to the Ed Talk TV area, and you'll actually be able to fill out a guest request. So that's kind of some info there. I have a surprise for you guys. If you were here yesterday, hey, Mickey. Mickey's in the house. If you were here yesterday and watched yesterday's episode, I have a surprise for you. We'll get to that though. I'm not going to give you guys the goods right up front. Like we gotta stick around. We gotta stick around for that. So be sure to comment, show some emotions, not just the like, but show some emotions, and then of course you can always share if you like. So random news. Apparently, the groundhog Phil saw a shadow today. I don't know, you guys can tell me in the comments, even if you're watching the replay, if that's true or not. I actually have been in like the zone today. I've really been with client work and other projects in the pipeline. I've been like laser focused today. So I couldn't tell you 100% if he saw his shadow or not. That's just what I'm reading from the articles. Well, the quick article I got and then from somebody who actually told me about it. So there's your random news. So Phil apparently saw a shadow, so 6 more weeks of winter. Although, if you're in California, Northern California at least, 75, beautiful today. I know, sorry East Coast friends, sorry international friends. It's a rough life. But yeah, 75 was nice today. Perfect temperature. Probably won't last long. We'll probably get those 90 plus days, which I will not be happy about, but that's okay. So, he saw a shadow, but now there's Lucy. Does anybody know who Lucy is? I'll let you, even if you're watching the replay, still share your answer because it's important. Do you know who Lucy is? Lucy is apparently a native to Nova Scotia. Can anybody guess who Lucy is? What kind of animal is Lucy? I know I have some Canadian friends, so they might know. Even if you're watching the replay, you can still pop it in the comments. So Lucy is apparently the lobster that wants to take over Phil's job. Yes, Lucy wants to take Phil's job. No offense, Phil, but Lucy's trying to come in here and swoop up because I don't even know if that makes sense, but we'll go with it. It's Friday, right? Lucy wants to jump in and start taking over the weather predictions so that way Phil can take a break because apparently we're tired of the groundhog. So if that's cool with you guys, I mean, share with me. Do you prefer the groundhog or the lobster? I mean, it's kind of a toss-up, right? And you know, how do we know which one really can see their shadow or not? I don't know. But you guys can tell me in the comments, even if you're watching the replay. So that's your random news for this Friday afternoon. So let's jump into it. Before I get to the content, actually, and before I tell you about the surprise from yesterday, I was at the gym today. And this leads up to what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so it's not just like random, like I went to the gym. So when I was at the gym today, I got to hang out and talk to one of my friends there who's a trainer. And she introduced me to the person she was training, which was awesome. And the person she was training mentioned how she has been working with my friend, who's the personal trainer, for 8 years. 8 years, you guys. She's been working with the same trainer and looks phenomenal for 8 years. Now that says something, right? That says dedication. That says know, like, trust. It has all of the key elements that we talk about that you should be knowing when you're starting a business, when you're running your business, all of that, right? That's what's Lucy see? Exactly, Nikki, right? What's Lucy see? So when it comes to whatever you're trying to put out in the world, whatever product, service, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, like we talked about yesterday, right? What's your next move? Here on the show, your next move is to go from watching to commenting, to showing emotions, to sharing, and then hopefully at some point become a guest. Like that's a simple little, what's your next move formula for around this show. And you as the watcher, as the viewer, as the replay viewer especially, that's our funnel, if you will. Now, when it comes to this example that I shared with you of somebody working with their personal trainer, and it could be anybody, right? But in this case, it's the example of the personal trainer, for 8 years. That's a long time. Hey, guys, welcome. So 8 years is a long time. I mean, these days, a year is a long time, right? If you're working with someone. Time goes by fast, but depending on who you're working with, a year can go by slow or fast. And when it comes to that, you want to make sure that whatever you're putting out in the world, and that's why I always encourage you guys to comment and to engage with each other, like you guys are doing right now in the comments, because you're building relationships. Even the simplest hi, and whoever you're talking to. That's like walking up to a stranger or walking past a stranger and smiling, right? Just smiling as you walk by. They might have a bad day, but because they saw your smile, they're like, okay, there's some hope today. Like, I get it, right? So it's those little gestures that you can do that take you to the next level. It's part of your what's your next move, right? On a smaller scale. And so when you're building something and when you're working with your clients and your potential clients, you want to make sure that you remember that and that you remember that it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. And if it does, you have to question, is it going to be sustainable? Is it actually going to be meaningful, right? Because usually quick money is not that great and it doesn't last long. So you really want to go in to whatever you're creating knowing that it's going to be a while. And you may not see a return. I mean, look at yesterday. We had a guest on, for those who didn't watch the show, we had a guest on, Arlene. Phenomenal. Everyone had a great time. Check out the comments especially. But we had talked about this. She went 6 years without making an income. 6 years to build her business. Like, you know, if you're going to start a business that it's not going to make you money right off the bat. Chances are it's not going to make money for at least the first 3 years, maybe in this case 6 years, right? So you have to know that when you want to start a business, because having a great idea is great. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to smash your dreams or your ideas, but like we talk about a lot here is you have to have a plan. What's your next move? Like, figure that out before you start. And you don't have to have the whole thing figured out, right? You just need to know, like, what do you want to test? What are you going to start? What are you going to put out there? And that's why the easiest thing to start for you is by commenting. No matter where you're at, just drop a comment. Be insightful. Like, share some helpful, valuable information in the comments wherever you're at, especially in Facebook groups, because you're building up your know, like, trust factor. You're building up the audience that's around you and that's watching you, right? I get compliments, I guess you can say, all the time where people are like, Ed, how are you everywhere? You're in my news feed, you're in these Facebook groups, you're here, you're there. Like, this is crazy. And it's because I show up and I deliver and I engage. That's all. Like, that's literally all I do all the time. And that's why I have such an awesome network of people. You guys watching right now, you're commenting, you're sharing, you're engaging, you're telling your friends. I have people that are like talking about, the other day, I think it was Erica. She was like, and if it wasn't Erica, sorry, I'm pretty sure it was though. She was saying how her mom had watched her episode where she was on the show, I want to say Tuesday it was, and we did actually an after party, because we call the comments the after party, and she said that her mom was watching the show and that had a good time. I've had other people that say that they watched the show during dinner time with the kids and stuff, so it's like, it's super cool. Like, it's not just you, the one person watching this right now, it's everyone else that follows. It's a trickle down effect, right? And so you want to make sure that whatever you're working on, that you remember that. And we talked about that yesterday too with the word of mouth marketing. A lot of us, I feel like especially when we start out, we skip the word of mouth marketing. We totally forget about it, right? We all know it. We all know, right, that word of mouth marketing is still the number one source of marketing. It's like the best you can have. If you didn't know that, there's a tip for you. But it's the biggest thing that you can do for your business. Word of mouth marketing is the way to go because you don't have to pay for it. It's all recommendations. And it's because people like what you have to offer. They like you, right? And so even if you have a small list of people, it doesn't matter. If that's your core group of people, they're going to buy from you. They're going to keep coming back to you. And that's all you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about going and getting all these extra people that may or may not like you, Let that naturally flow. And when I say go get them, like paying for all these ads and stuff, like you have to know what you're targeting, who you're targeting, and what you're going to be displaying, right? Your ad, your product, your service, all of that stuff. So keep that in mind. And now the reason I bring all of this up is because it's part of the 3-step formula for success that actually CEO of Amazon, Jeff B., has put in this article that I pulled up from Inc. magazine. I don't know, how many of you read Inc. magazine? Even if you're watching the replay, let me know. Do you guys read Inc. magazine, and or do you have any business magazines that you have a subscription to? I'd be curious to find out. I have a couple that I'm subscribed to, but do you subscribe to Inc. magazine or just any business magazine? And if so, put it in the comments. Not me? Okay. By the way, this is water. It's keeping hydrated. See? You get double ed. Little weird, but okay. Mickey, yep. Okay, cool. And so when it comes to magazines and entrepreneur, awesome. Okay, cool. I was just going to ask you which one you have. So the reason I asked that is because, well, one, magazines are kind of slowly getting away from being delivered, right? Because I actually get the print copies. I don't know if you guys are subscribed, even if you're a replay viewer. If you're subscribed to a magazine, do you have the printed version or the digital version? Sometimes you can have both, but usually it's one or the other. I have the paper, the print version that actually gets mailed to me because I actually like being able to rip out the pages. I circle them a lot. You can see Where is, well, I don't have anything written on this one yet, but I like rip it out and then I can make notes on here. Like this one is the 10 side hustles that grow into the real deal. Boom. That's a show topic, right? And then we can dive deeper into that. So I like being able to do that. Nikki says digital. Awesome. And how do you like the digital? Are you able to, draw on it, make some notes on it? Because that's where I really like the paper, as we just saw. So when you are looking into your different magazines or books or podcasts, all of those things, they're all free resources. Well, the magazine's not because you're paying for it. But, you have these resources that you want to pull from. And there's so much content in these things that you can pull something from there for whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? You just have to have the different mindset going in. When you look at, like I just did with this article, you might see and read this article on the 10 side hustles, right? And you might just flip the next page. But because I'm going into the magazine looking for information, trying to educate myself and understand what I might be able to pull for talking points at a later time, I pulled this out and I thought, boom, that is a great topic to talk about. I don't even have to do 10 side hustles that grew into the real deal. I could do the top 5. I could do the top 3, right? Like you have to have that different mindset and go off of that when you go into these things. Anyway, so that all ties into where we're going with this article. And on this article that Jeff from Amazon, the founder, had talked about, I'm reading it, by the way, I'm down here looking. So he summed up the winning formula. We'll talk about that first, and then we'll dive into the 3 points here. And by the way, let me ask you, even if you're watching the replay, can you guess? Well, not can you. Let's say, take a guess at what's one thing that might be in this formula. One thing. It could be anything. Just shout out whatever you want. Even if you're watching the replay, pop it in the comments. What do you think this 3-step formula for success is? You can do 1, you can do 2, you can do all 3. It doesn't matter. But what do you think might be on this list? And then we're going to dive into that. While we do that, or while you do that, I'm going to read this one sentence that he summed up pretty good, this formula, all summed up into one sentence. And this is where it gets interesting when you can start nailing things in a sentence. Like, just done deal, right? What's your why? Sturdy. Okay, screenshots, got it. So Mickey says that for her digital versions, yep, she does the screenshots and draws on the pictures. Yeah, actually, for those who maybe aren't familiar, I've been doing screenshots a lot on your phone, and I can't tell you on Android, but on, but on the iPhone, to take a screenshot, you actually can tap the power button on the right-hand side and the home button, press them at the same time, and it will take a screenshot of whatever's on your phone. And then now it gives you the option to actually crop it, edit a little bit, and then also put text on there. It comes in very handy. So like right now, if you're watching me on your iPhone, you can actually take a screenshot, and then you'll be able to save that picture and, share it, send it to mom and whoever. But yeah, there you go. Social media, Facebook Live. Nice. Okay, that's a good guess. There we go. Perfect. Social media is a big one, especially Facebook Live, as we know, right? For those tuning in. It's the same on Android. Okay, cool. Perfect. Thank you for confirming that. So there you guys go. See, we are always learning. All of us together. Teamwork equals success. I feel like I can't talk today. It's like really annoying, but that's probably because I was just so in the zone this afternoon, all morning, I should say, with work. Okay, so the sentence, the one sentence that Jeff has, and then we'll dive into the 3 steps there. Quote, success is going to require talented experts, a beginner's mind, and a long-term orientation. Quote. I had to go slow on that one because I was like, I want to make sure that's there. So, quote, success is going to require talented experts, a beginner's mind, and a long-term orientation. Let me copy and paste that into the chat there for you guys, so that way you actually have it. So I'm going to pop that in the chat. This is what's cool is on the desktop I can actually pop into the chat and share this with you guys. So Jeff. Boom. There you guys go. So you can save that, you can tweak that, you can do whatever you want with that. So that's the one sentence. So now let's dive in a little deeper into the 3 steps. And then I will share with you the surprise from yesterday's guest that I have for you. All right, so step 1, you guys can already check this off your list. Even if you're watching the replay, you can check this one off your list. Anybody guess what this one is? I'm going to say it in just a second. Let me catch up with Mickey. Yes, right, Mickey? Mickey says, love the beginner's mind. Yep, it says passionate, open, creative. Exactly. Well said, Mickey. So step number 1 is surround yourself with the right people. Check. You're here. You're done, right? And it's not just me I'm talking about, but like all of you guys in the comments, even if you're watching the replay. That's why I encourage you to comment, because you're connecting with the right people. We're all here hanging out, enjoying each other's company, and learning from one another. You saw right now, I just learned that Android does the same thing with the screenshots. Sweet, right? So that's a big one. You have to surround yourself with like-minded people, because you need to be able to grow. Like, they're going to help you grow. If you're around negative people, you have to cut the negativity. I'll just tell you that right now. Because if you're around negative people all the time, even just a little bit, it really wears you down. And that is just not how you want to go. Yes, number 1, surround yourself with the right people. Love it. Exactly. I love that you guys are taking such good notes, too. This is awesome. All right. Number 2. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything in that quote. Okay, cool. So number 2, this one is fun. I really like this one, probably because it's me, but I really enjoy the way this is worded. And I think Mickey actually called it out there too. Number 2 is have a learn it all mindset. So what does that mean? A learn it all mindset. You can go ahead and pop it in the comments, even if you're watching the replay. What does it mean to have a learn it all mindset? Because it's important to have some structure around that and know what that might mean. And it can be different for everyone. But what is that just that little part? Learn it all mindset. Does that mean that you have to be an expert at every single thing? Perfect. I'm going to put number 2 on the screen. There we go. So this is fun. I'm going to read this straight off the article because it's a good wording here. It's great wording. So have a learn it all mindset. The problem with putting a bunch of experts together is you run the dangers of everyone thinking they are all the answers, right? So you want to make sure, yes, opposite of know-it-all. Yes, Mickey, well done. So that's the thing, you guys. You want to surround, number 1 is surround yourself with the right people, right? Number 2 is have a learn it all mindset where you really are just diving a little bit deeper and not having everyone be an expert. Like, all of us are just, like, you're probably an expert at something that I'm not an expert in, right? And vice versa. And that's how we learn from each other. You know, I'll tell you, this week I had a couple great meetings. Most of them were marketing meetings and with clients. And it was awesome because just taking a look at, like, for instance, a website real quick, I can automatically be like, okay, boom, 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 boom. Let's change this, XYZ, da-da-da, real quick, right? But then I can break it down for my client so that they can actually understand, and to see them light up when they are doing something like that, and then being able to show me something different that they just discovered because, you know, it could have been a new program or something. It's just awesome to be able to see that. So being able to work with each other on a project, doing whatever, and being able to see what changes come about is great. Tying into this is separate from this article, but with a Learn It All mindset, one of the things that I like to use, this is an exercise that I like to present with clients, is that you have what's called a parking lot question document. So what is a parking lot question document? Can anybody guess, even if you're watching the replay? Parking lot question document, what would that be? A parking lot question document is simply a document. It could be your notepad, it could be your Google Doc, it could be your spreadsheet, it doesn't matter. What it is a document that you call parking lot questions, and yes, Mickey, and you answer it later. So a parking lot question document is simply a document where you have the title, parking lot questions, and then underneath that, you put all the questions that you don't know the answers to. That's it. You don't spend time figuring out what the answer is, who the right person is in the moment when you're brainstorming. Because what does that do? That derails you from your brainstorm, right? So as you're brainstorming and you have these questions come up and you're like, oh, I don't know the answer to that. I wonder what can I do? You've totally sidetracked, right? And now you've gone down this rabbit hole. It's kind of like going on Pinterest, right? You keep digging and further into the system. So with a parking lot question document close by, you literally, if you can't answer it in a couple seconds, then pop it onto the parking lot question and come back to it later. And then what you'll find when you do this is that you actually will have a document full of these questions that you can circle back to later, that chances are you could probably answer most of those questions at the end, and the ones that you don't, you'll be able to have a clear mind of who's in your network, who's in your circle, that will allow you to reach out to. I haven't heard of that before. Yeah, so it's a really cool exercise that you can do. And it's super simple. Like I said, you can just get a piece of paper and just write parking lot questions on it. And literally, as you're brainstorming, you just pop whatever questions you don't have the answers to onto it. Then circle back after your brainstorm. We're not doing this during the brainstorming, afterwards, because you want all those natural ideas, that natural creative flow to just go with you. And then afterwards, you will go back to your parking lot question list and think, okay, I have all these questions. What do they relate to? Do I already know the answer? Because sometimes as you go through that brainstorm, you might have had a question at the beginning, but by the end, you already answered it. You just didn't know it until you look at your document, if that makes sense. So really focus in on whatever project you're doing. I mean, I do this with so many things, almost everything now. Have a parking lot question list. Pop the question on there. Wait later to have the answer, because that way you have a clear mind that then you can be like, oh, I'm not tech savvy, but Ed is tech savvy. I'm going to check with Ed. And then that's when you can be like, here's the question. And then you go from there. Make sense? Even if you're watching the replay? So that's what I want you to start thinking about, is how you can keep things moving, right? How you can keep moving forward and not get stuck, held up on these certain areas. And that happens a lot with tech, right? You want to create something. You want to build your website. You want to create an app, or you want to go live, and you have all these things that you want to do, but maybe you don't know how to do it. We'll take the simple example of go live. Believe it or not, it's hard to figure out how to go live for some people. And that's okay. Why is it hard? Because they've just never done it before. One, they're worried about going live. I mean, let's face it, that's like number one at the top of the list, right? And so the minute they think of going live, they freeze up. And then they can't get past that part. And then if they do, they think, okay, I could probably go live. I can work up but I'm not tech savvy. I don't know how to do it. And so then they freeze at the tech part, right? Because they don't know. And sure, it's easy for some of us to just be like, well, you just go to Facebook and you tap on what's your mind, or you just hit the live button, right? Like, that part's easy. right? That's the number one struggle. Yeah, tech. Tech is the number one struggle for people, which is why it's good that you guys found me, right? So when it comes to, something as simple as going live, it's still techie. It's still an issue for people, even though there's a nice big button that says go live. But once you hit that button, now you're faced with all these other options. Try to block out some of that. You're faced with all these other options of well, now you got to tap to add a description. Now you got to figure out if you want to go live, bring on a friend, or popular masks. What? And I don't know. Okay, so let me bring this up since we're talking about this. Don't worry, we'll get to number 3 here in a second. For those of you who have explored going live feature on Facebook, now I know that these popular masks are there, and I know some of you are using them, which is fine. I'm not saying don't use them. I don't use them, so I don't know how popular are they. And when I say masks, they're these icons that you can basically put, so it's kind of like a Snapchat filter or an Instagram story filter where you can, be goofy, and I don't know. That's just not my world, so I don't do that. I just go live usually. I might put a filter on just a little bit, but I don't put on a crown or, some shades or anything like that. Do they even call them shades? It's like sunscreen. Or sunscreen. Sun's out, and I'm ready to put on sunscreen. Sunglasses. So anyway, when you look at a simple example of going live, yes, it's just one button that you click on Facebook, but you still have all these other features that come along with it that make it hard for people who aren't tech savvy to figure out. So if you've never gone live before, here's a quick homework assignment that you can do today. Later today, you don't have to go live if you don't want to, that's fine. But later today, I want you to open up Facebook and just tap on live, just to see this screen here and to see what options you have there. And then practice your parking lot question list. There you go. See how we tied that in? Go to go live, look at the screen, see what's on there, and if you don't have, if you have a question about it and you don't have the answer, put down a parking lot question, and then come back to this video and pop it into the comments. Why? Because then that way other people can see it and hopefully engage with you and say, oh, you do this for that, or oh, that's just a fun feature. You don't have to use it. It's not just me, but it's all of us working together to help each other out, right? So there's a small assignment for you. So number 2, have a learn it all mindset. Number 3, dun, 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 dun. This one's a big one. A big one. And we talk a lot about it. We talked about it in this episode. We talk about it in pretty much every episode. Can anybody guess what number 3 is based off of the first 2? And I'll recap the first 2, especially replay viewers. Jump in on this conversation. Number 1 is surround yourself with the right people. Number 2 is have a learn it all mindset. Number 3, Mickey. Number 3 is not Mickey, but Mickey said, "Oh, Ed, with the exposure therapy, just tap on live." Yep. There you go. Right. I'm trying to help you guys out. Help me help you. I didn't wear my shirt, but help me help you. Right. I want you guys to get out there, because here's the thing, and we're going to get to number 3 here in a second, but here's the thing. By going live, I thought about this today, by the way. Going live, great guest, Mickey, engage. By going live, it has been such a game changer for me and my business and my relationships with you guys. It's been crazy. And I thought about it today. I thought, what if I was on a stage, like a big stage with so many people in front of me, right? I would be a little bit more nervous, I'm sure, than I am when I go on here for the show. And then I took it back a ways when I worked at Apple, and I used to have to give workshops, which, if you're not familiar, Apple has workshops where you can go for free to learn, how to use your iPhone, how to take pictures, all of that stuff. I still remember not wanting to do them because I was afraid of being in front of people and afraid of what questions might come up and if I didn't know the answers to them. And, what if I got interrupted? Or what if somebody was sidetracking with each other and not paying attention to me? Like, all these things come up, right? And that's in person. And I thought about it today. I was like, that doesn't bother me anymore. Like, I mean, I just show up. It would probably be a little different if I was hanging out with you guys on a stage somewhere. I'm sure I would be a little bit more nervous, but it's one of those things, like, you just know what your talking points are and then go from there. If you don't have the answers, you don't have the answers. Just let them know, like, hey, we can take a look at it later. We'll research it afterwards. That's a great question. Let me get back to you. Things like that. You can redirect the conversation, but just understand that it shouldn't hold you back from going live. It shouldn't hold you back from being out there, because since going live, I've just totally grown. Like, been able to grow online, right? And get out of this little box and be able to just go out there and basically spread your wings, right? So keep that in mind, that especially because Facebook wants you to do that, you want to start working on that plan. You want to get more comfortable. And let me tell you, it's fun. It's so much fun once you get past those nerves. And there's quite a few of our viewers who are in a group with Chrissy, and she's one of our viewers, and they have been doing an amazing job. They had a 5-day challenge, which, if you watched Chrissy's interview, which I think was last Friday, she put out a 5-day challenge for all of you to do. So I'll reiterate that here for those who are just tuning in, so that you can plan this weekend and then hopefully do a 5-day challenge next week, and then tag me on it, and tag anybody here in the comments too. But the 5-day challenge basically was, you go live 5 days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You just show up and you deliver. Like, you're not worried about any of this fancy equipment, nothing. Like, you're literally taking your phone and you're hitting that go live button. I was going to say punch in your text, but you kind of have to do that before you go live, and then go live. That is your 5-day challenge that we talked about. So if you didn't jump in on that, go ahead and do that this week. Your next question is probably, and this is, where's that parking lot question list, right? Where is it? It's showing up right now. So your first question is probably like, well, Ed, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? I don't know what to talk about. Parking lot question. Don't worry about it right now. You got all weekend. Then have that on your mind, and then realize that day one could be your intro. Who are you? Like, pop it in the comments right now, even if you're watching the replay. Who are you? Practice. Remember, we're working up to our next move, right? So what's your next move? Well, you're watching right now. So your next move is to comment. So go ahead, practice. Comment and let people know who you are. What do? Share a link. That's fine with me. I don't mind. Go ahead, share your link. Practice. So day one could be that. Then you say, okay, well, how long should I go for? Don't worry about it. You just go. You show up and you deliver. When you're done, you're done. Like, if somebody shows up, which was your next question, I'm sure, right? Well, what if somebody shows up and asks a question or comments? Well, then you reply to them. Well, what if they catch my replay? Awesome. You reply to them in the comments. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I hope this is helping you to know, like, help push you to the next stage, like get you to keep moving it forward, right? Your next question would be, well, what if I don't have, a clean background? Or what if I don't have the logo? Don't worry about it. Focus on you. This is you. This is all about you right now. Especially day one. You're going to talk about yourself. It's just a practice. Then you're going to say, okay, well, what about how am I supposed to hold my device? Well, because this is just starting out and I want you to just get comfortable and just focus, you can hold it whatever way you want. Portrait, landscape, whatever's comfortable. I will say, if you go landscape, it fills up the whole screen, and you can repurpose it. But that's all optional, right? Yeah, Mickey says right light. Yep. So you guys are probably wondering about my lighting right now. I'm in front of a window. Yesterday, I was in front of the window. I mean, not every day I'm in front of the window, but yesterday and today, I actually, because it's so nice outside, I didn't have to have an extra light on because the show goes till 5 p.m. and it used to get dark around 5 p.m. Well, before. So, that was there. But having the right light, yeah, you want to make sure that people can actually see you, right? You don't want to have like this dark, dingy thing with this like huge shadow over you, right? Let me close these. Watch. Give me a second. This camera, by the way, is going to still make it look decent, but look. So there's still light. So this is a bad example because the webcam I'm using actually has a really good light in it. Not that it's on me, but the camera itself. But you can see that the lighting changed, and then if I open these back up, that's more natural, right? So those are all extras though, right? We just want to be able to see you and hear you. And that's all, right? And what's been great about this group that I've been in is they're showing their workspace. It's a group. It's just a small group, and they're showing their workspace. They're going live for the first time, and I'm watching these, and I'm just like, it's so inspiring. It's so cool to see people going live for the first time. It's like taking your picture, you guys, for the first time and seeing it. I went to it's totally side subject, but it totally ties in. I went to the Dominican Republic like 10 years ago for a volunteer trip. It was awesome. This was before iPhone, and it was, all of us went to this place up on a hill, like 2-hour truck ride up a mountain, and no phones, no computers, no nothing, right? And we had actual digital cameras. I know it sounds like I'm old, but I'm not. And so the kids at this camp have never seen themselves. They didn't have mirrors. They didn't have cameras. They didn't have all that stuff. So when they saw our cameras and took a picture of themselves for the first time, they couldn't get enough. They were like, they were amazed, right? Same thing happens when you go live. You watch yourself. And then your next question is, Ed, do I have to watch myself? Because I really don't want to watch myself. I don't want to listen to myself. I messed up. I really don't care. I don't do it. Yes, I want you to watch yourself. Take the 5-day challenge. Go live. Don't worry about time. Don't worry about anything. Just have some decent lighting and a topic and just go. And then afterwards, watch it. Why? Because then you can get over your stage fright. You can look at yourself and realize you're not that bad and that you actually have something good in there. Even if you're like, oh, I look a mess. I said like too many times. I said too many times. It doesn't matter. All that is just, you'll work on that. But by watching your replays, you're telling yourself, your brain's picking up on all of it, you're telling yourself so that next time, your brain will pick up on it. And every time it gets better. So that's why it's a 5-day challenge, to go consistently for the 5 days, because when you do that, it actually will, it will become like normal. And then next thing you know, you're going live 5 days a week forever until something else changes, right? So keep that in mind. And again, use your parking lot question list for any questions you don't have the answers to. So number 3, just to recap, because we kind of went a little off there. So 3 steps to the formula for success. 1 is surround yourself with the right people. 2 is have a learn it all mindset. Number 3 is my favorite. Be ready to play the long game. Boom. We talk about that all the time, right? You can't expect everyone to just show up and spread like wildfire. Like, you can't expect to have a viral video that's going to make you hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, right? It's not going to happen. If it does by accident, awesome. Like, you're going to realize when you start going live, some of your worst lives that you think are the worst, some of your worst lives are the best. Why? Why are they the best? Even if you're watching the replay, why are they the best? I'm going to put a couple of these comments back up on the screen because they're important. Why are some of your best lives the worst ones? or at least the ones that you feel are the worst. You can tell me in the comments while I put this here. I'm just going to fix this up a little bit, see if I can make it fit on the screen. Boom. How do you like that? So, the best lives are usually the ones that aren't planned and that are just real life. Why do you think reality TV is so, and I'm going to use this as an example, I know it's probably a really bad one and I'll explain, but why do you think reality TV is so popular? Because they stage a lot of it. Let's just put that out there already. I don't watch reality TV, but they're unless you consider Shark Tank reality TV. But there's so much drama and they make all this stuff up. But people like it because there's some things that are relatable to them in their situations. Hopefully it's not too crazy for you guys and that you're not too relatable with some of those shows. But you know what I'm saying? Yes. Yes, Paula, perfect. Let me put these up here. Mickey, excellent. As you appear relatable and less of us can't touch this expert. Exactly. That's the big thing. When you start going live and you start sharing what you know, it doesn't matter who shows up, it doesn't matter who comments, it doesn't matter how many likes, loves, shares, happy, sad emojis, angry emojis, it doesn't matter any of that stuff. Your job, your only job, is to show up and deliver. And engage, of course, if others are engaging with you. But that's all you need to do. Once you do your job, let everyone else do theirs. If they show up, great. That's their job. If they want to comment, awesome. That's their job. Your job then is to engage, follow up, ask questions, find out what insight they have. We talked about on one of the episodes earlier this week about polling your audience. If you're trying to figure something out, poll them. I don't know if anybody watching now, or even if you're watching the replay, if you have been working on that for your business, but let us know if you've been working on the polling question, or even the 5-day challenge, because again, we had that last week. But those are the types of things that you just have to do it. You have to just go and try it and have that mindset and know that the more you put yourself out there, and I'm telling you because I'm telling myself this too. I mean, let's be honest, we're all in the same boat. But the more that you put yourself out there, the more that people notice and the more you stand above the noise, right? On social media, there's so much noise down here. And if you don't start stepping up, you're down here. You're not up here. And, I always like to use this example, especially on a Friday, because I see it all the time. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, as I mentioned, and today's promo day for a lot of the groups, meaning you can pop in a promotional link. Some have Facebook page day, meaning that today's promo day, so you can pop in a link to your page. Well, as I go into some of these and I scroll through the comments just to get down to where I can comment, what do you know? They're all link, 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 link. Not a whole lot of descriptions. Not a whole lot of what's the why? Why would I want to even click? Literally it's just popped a link, moved on. You're not going to stand out. You are not going to stand out. I'll tell you that right now. If you are trying to be seen on Facebook and you are trying to get people to your page, you're not going to stand out. You just can't. How can you? You're doing something that everything else, rewind. You're doing what everyone else is doing. So how are you supposed to stand out? Your link's just supposed to look better? Because it's facebook.com/2895 or / get it and go because you're a fast food place. I don't know. So that's what I mean is that you want to take that next step. If you're going to comment, give me a little something. If you're going to promote your Facebook page or your business or something, give a little something. Even for a great example, and this is super, super bare minimum. But you can see the pinned post, pinned comment here. I didn't just drop my link to the Start Here page. I said, check with Ed by starting here. Why? Because if I just drop that link and somebody's browsing the comments, doesn't even watch the video, or maybe watches the video but didn't really pay attention, when they browse the comments and they're like, I want to find out what Ed has to offer. I want to get on Ed's email list. I want to know about Ed Talk TV. Well, guess what? They're browsing the comments and they see, check with Ed by starting here. Boom. That's a call to action, right? So that's what you want to start doing as part of your strategy for getting notice. That's part of your next step, your next move. So keep that in mind. And by the way, if you're not on my email list, definitely jump on there, because you never know what's going to happen with our connection on Facebook. You never know if you're going to miss an episode, or if you really want to know something. Like, I'm getting better at my email. I'll be honest with you guys. Email marketing is like, I know about it. I like to help clients with it. But when it comes to mine, I'm just like, but I'm getting better at it. I'm kind of testing out right now. See, it's all about testing. I'm testing out right now highlights of the week, so I can give you kind of like a quick bullet point summary of a couple things that have gone on in the week for anybody who's interested, right? And tips and tools and all that stuff. So that's always a work in progress, right? I mean, how many of you are working on your email list right now and trying to figure out what's the best approach for it? Even if you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments if you're working on your email list and trying to test or figure out basically what works for your audience, because it's always different and it's always changing. Most people don't like email, so there's that too. But the reason I bring that all up is because obviously it ties into the being in it for the long game. And I will tell you right now, and this always changes. This always changes. But have a good evening. But if you have a business page, I want you to make sure that you check your insights, meaning your stats. There's a spot on Facebook where you can log in. If you have the Pages app on your phone, you can look at that. There's a little spot with like little chart line, and it will show you your stats. Now, yes, you can look at this every day, but I will say when you look at it every day or within the last 7 days, it can actually be really depressing. I'll just tell you that right now, because a lot of the times it's in red and everything's down. But when you look at the bigger picture, which you can't really do it on the phone, but if you do it on your desktop or laptop, whatever, if you do it on your computer, you can actually use the last, I think it's 28 days. That is a way better picture to look at. And when you do that, we're looking at the long run, right? That's number 3, step number 3. We aren't looking at what happened today or what happened this week. We're looking at what happened this month. And when you do that, it's not as depressing most of the time. And it allows you to think bigger, right? Because we're not about the sale today. We're about the relationships over time. That's what we're always about, right? And so I bring this up because I looked, I think it was yesterday, at my insights here, and there was quite a bit of red, and I was like, oh, okay, because Facebook changes and everything, and that's just the 7-day thing. But then when I look today, everything is up. It's all green except for page views. That's a little bit down, but everything is like up at least 15-30%. Not that I really pay 100% attention to all those numbers, because I just show up and deliver and engage with you guys. Like, that's all it is. But it's a good reference point to know what's going on. And the reason I bring that up is because with my page here, I'm in it for the long run, meaning this didn't all just happen last night or last month. Like, I made a decision back, I think in October or something like that, to be in it for the long run and just focus on the page and driving traffic to the page and having a plan for my page, because everyone else was worried about their groups. And I said, no, I'm not going to play that game. I'm going to worry about my page, because that's public, that's my thing, and then later I can worry about focusing on a group. But I'm going to really build up my page. And again, I have no paid ads, thankfully. I have not done any paid ads. And I can confidently say that my organic growth over time continues to grow. Sure, there'll be some days where it's like in red, but most of the time, and when you look at the 28-day period, it is all green and it's all good. And so I say that because I want you to understand that you don't have to go out there and try to buy your followers. You don't have to go out there and throw money at Facebook ads or, Instagram ads and all these other places. Like, what you need to do is just focus. Ask yourself, what do you want to deliver? What does your audience want you to deliver? Jeez. What does your audience want you to do? See, this is what happens when you go live. This is what happens, and then you just laugh about it and you just keep moving, right? You just keep moving. What does your audience want you to deliver? And then work a plan around that and be able to then start showing up, right? We talk about it all the time. One topic, up to 3 talking points, boom, done. Go home. You're good, right? Like, that's all you have to do. And I say 3 talking points because sometimes the first one or the second one might be super quick. So having 3 is just helpful. But that's what I want you to start thinking about this weekend, and what I want you to go into next week knowing a little bit more about what kind of plan do you have? What's your goal going to be? What's your next step going to be? And you can map all this stuff out. I'm a big fan of mind maps, pen and paper. I have the big Post-it. You can't see it, but I have the big Post-it over on the side here. That's like the new wallpaper for 2018, I swear. But map it all out. You don't have an answer to the question. Where's it go? Your parking lot question list. There you go. That's it. So keep that in mind as you go about. Now, before I let you go, I had a surprise for you. You guys didn't even remind me. You're lucky I looked down at my notes here. I have a surprise. So if you tuned in yesterday, and if not, you can always watch the replay and make sure to comment so we know that you watched and engage with each other. But if you tuned in yesterday, we had special guest Arlene here, who was fantastic. You guys loved her and had so much fun in the comments, and it's been awesome. Well, she noticed one of your comments. I think it was Erica who had commented this, but it could have been anybody. But she noticed your comment, and it was a request to have her back on the show strictly for a Q&A. So what happened? She hit me up on Messenger and asked about coming back on the show just for that request. I said, yeah, of course. I would love to have you back on the show. So you can mark your calendars. She's coming back on February 12th. So February 12th, same time, same place here, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll have Arlene back on the show, and we'll go over and do Q&As. So if you missed yesterday's episode or you want to just recap it, you can just take a look at it. Go through the comments, see what kind of questions maybe came up, start making your list. I probably will create a Facebook event. I'll make a note of that to create a Facebook event for you guys on that. And then that way you can start popping your questions over there. So we'll do that Facebook event. So that way you'll have it. So that will be a lot of fun. If you don't know who Arlene is, you can use yesterday's post. It has all her links to her business page where you can learn more about her and start creating your list of questions. But that was all because of a comment. See? I'm telling you, it just takes one comment and one person to discover it. And now we have her coming back. And you guys, she told us yesterday, she charges minimum $500 an hour for her services. You got her for free yesterday. And she's even coming back. So you guys are lucky. You're lucky. So anyway, I am lucky to have you, and I appreciate you, even if you're watching the replay. And I'm so grateful to have you guys here all the time, and I love it. So have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Take care. This episode is sponsored by Stupid Easy. Easily create, share, and sell your online courses. Discover more at stupideasy.com.